You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, King Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Anger Management After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Anger Management After Show.
What's up, everybody? Bing is for doing, and we're doing it here live at AFTERBUZZ TV. You are watching Anger Management, Season 2, Episode 4, Charlie's Dad Breaks Bad. I'm Derrial Christon, and along with me is the man who is not normally on the mic. Well, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Mr. Phil Svitek.
I've been called the AfterBuzz intern as of late by a few of you hosts. I'm not very proud of that fact.
Well, we don't get the opportunity to sit with you that much, Phil. So I'm just excited tonight, and I'm gonna get a quick shout out to the girls who are normally here: Dua Casey, Anna Koppel, and Lauren Leonelli. As you can see, Phil is not any of them, but he will be a great substitute because they were not able to make it tonight. So I apologize for the guys and the girls who love them, but we're excited to be here tonight. So, all right, we're going to go right into our topic, which is Patrick and Lacey. So, Patrick, for everyone who watched the episode tonight, or if you didn't, you'll find out what happened right now. They are all in a group meeting at Charlie's house, the therapy group, and Patrick is talking about some fear that he has of an old high school bully that used to bully him, Gonzalo, back in the day, and he is now having to style him in the next day. So he's nervous that Gonzalo is going to come into his styling room and basically, I think, kick his butt. He's starting to reminisce about some old things that happened to him in high school with Gonzalo. And Lacey comes and saves the day because Lacey is going to actually help him out with his fear of having Gonzalo come back into his life, apparently. What did you think of the Patrick and Lacey kind of chemistry, since it's the first time you actually watched it?
Well, for me, the whole storyline was pretty funny. Yeah. You would think it would, typically when someone comes back from your past, you kind of do a little research on them to see how successful they are. Yeah. And maybe Patrick kind of knew that going in, and that's what made him angry, because at the end of the day, he's going, that guy's going to go up against J.P. Morgan and things like that. I love Lacey's plans. Yes. I think it would have been, it was hilarious, and unfortunately, it still didn't really help Patrick.
Yeah, and for you guys, if you don't know yet, or you'll know later, Lacey's plan was to allegedly, sort of sleep with him and then not, actually, let me start over.
Get him blue balls.
It was to actually give him blue balls, to get him so worked up that he thought he was going to sleep with her, and then she would give him blue balls and she would walk away. But that plan didn't actually go through because Lacey ended up.
She had a better plan.
What was the better plan? Right.
The better plan, I love it. She's gonna sleep with him multiple times, blah blah blah, right. End up in a cab or something like that, and then have the kid, and she's gonna walk out with a bunch of payments. Which is awesome.
That's a good plan. But both of those plans didn't go through tonight because Lacey actually ended up sleeping with Mr. Gonzalo.
Well, the second plan is the long-term plan. That's why the short-term plan didn't work out, because she got the long-term plan and blah, blah.
That's true. That's true.
You can see Patrick's frustration, though, in all of this.
I mean, Patrick, I understand his frustration. I mean, the guy thinks that she's going to come in and give Gonzalo blue balls. It's his chance to get back at Gonzalo, and because he still has this fear and like all this built-up kind of frustration through the years of being bullied from him. And Lacey's supposed to have his back, and she doesn't have his back. I mean, I would have been pissed off at Lacey, too.
That's what whores do. She was called a horror slut. I forget.
I think she was called a slut at one point, and yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think I would have been pissed off at Lacey pretty much.
Yeah, I would have too. I mean, I thought they played it both very, very well. Yeah, it was hysterical throughout the whole time, and I really believed Lacey. I really believed that she really wanted to help Patrick, despite her narcissism, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love Lacey. I mean, she's hot and all, and I like her character, but I just had a feeling that she was going to screw over Patrick the whole time, honestly. I really thought that she was just she's so into herself. You know, she doesn't, I mean, she allegedly.
But again, the fact that she can justify of like, hey, wait, I did that, but because I thought of a better thing. That's the comedy.
I hear you. But I don't know. I think I still would have been a little pissed off at her. But I think he'll get over it because at the end of the day, Lacey is she knows how to work men, whether they're gay or straight. And we know that Patrick is gay, but she knows how to work her way with men regardless. And
at the end of the day, Patrick came. You know, Patrick didn't. He got angry, but he didn't like lose himself. You know what I mean? He didn't lose himself.
He didn't lose them. And what I do like, and I know this is kind of your first introduction to this, but the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing a lot more of Patrick's character and finding out kind of a little bit more about him. The first season, he wasn't as, I would say, we didn't know as much about him.
He wasn't as open in the group?
He wasn't, well, yeah, he wasn't as open in the group. But this season, we're starting to learn a lot more about him. It seems like they're focusing a lot more on his character, ideally. So, you know, that's a good thing. All right, so I think that's enough about Patrick and Lacey. But let's go into Charlie, Jen, Sam, and their relationship with Martin. But we'll start off with Jen and Sam. So tonight's episode kind of starts off with with Martin taking Sam, who is the daughter of Jen and Charlie, out. She's staying at the house with them, and he took her out shopping. And she kind of comes in. She makes this exhausted face like, "Ooh, you know, had a good time with Granddad, but don't think I want to be doing this too often." So I think it's kind of funny because what'd you think about that with her face reaction to
I mean,
Martin?
You know, it's typical. You kind of usually see it for most kids. And I like Jen's kind of observation of it, like, you know, he's the grandfather. Like, can we not?
Right.
But part of it is funny. Usually parents say, like, you know, hang out with your grandfather, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what sucks ultimately is I don't, you know, at the end of the day, he's not really being a bad influence on the kid.
No.
So to a degree, it is bad parenting.
It is, but okay, so this is to give you a little bit more backstory for those who don't know or who haven't seen a couple of episodes. Martin obviously has not been, he just came kind of this season more, and he has not been significant in Charlie's life. They had like a little bit of a falling out, and Charlie has always kind of had this.
All the more reason why they should get to know each other.
All the more reason for them to get to know each other, but Charlie had this built-up frustration for his dad, so he's trying to mend the relationship obviously now and kind of move forward with that, which I like, because I love seeing Martin Sheen on the show a lot more. I think he gives it like that extra little juice and edge that the show needs. But so with that being said, you know, it's you saying it's bad parenting, but I think it's kind of funny too, because it's like, okay.
I mean, that's what does make it funny, yes, the fact that it is terrible parenting.
It's terrible parenting. It's terrible parenting. And what also seems like there's something else brewing too, because Jen also likes to avoid Martin as much as possible. It's every time that Martin was around and Charlie wanted her to do something for Martin, like there was we'll get into it a little bit later, but Martin was hanging out at the bar and he needed to be picked up. You know, Charlie kind of looked at her and said, "Hey, will you go pick up my dad?" And she woofs down that beer and is like, "Oh, no, I've had too much beer. I can't do it."
Does she not like responsibility? That's what it seems like to me.
No, she usually is pretty responsible. She's kind of like, you know.
Yeah, but this is out of, you know, all the more reason, like, you know what, this one's for you. This is your dad. I don't deal with this. This is not my area.
Well, maybe it's because they're divorced and she just feels like, hey, listen, I'm not technically part of the family anymore, so this is your responsibility.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, I'll get with that. I can get with that.
You know?
Yeah, I can get with that. But I still like the chemistry of Jen and Charlie. We always had in our predictions for the first season that they would get back together. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I don't know. They say that people who get divorced, you know, sometimes the relationships are better, and I guess we definitely see that chemistry on the show. I mean,
yeah, because the pressure's off.
Is that what it is?
Well, you know, because you don't have to look a certain way or act a certain way all the time. Now, again, the handcuffs are kind of off.
Right.
You can be you.
You can be you.
You know, as much as, like, quote, they say, you know, after a certain while, you can fart in front of your girlfriend or whatever.
That's true.
It's true. But you know, at the end of the day, you're still playing to something, or there's still an expectation of some things, and then when that is lifted, you can forget about it. So. Yeah.
Well, I like their chemistry. I'm still rooting for them to get back together, but there is the Selma Blair character, Kate, who you got to see tonight.
I did.
And Selma, the girls you know, we have this ongoing battle. The girls think that she looks hard on the show. They always think that she's dressed in black, which she typically actually thinks she was dressed in black tonight, which
that's what makes her look hot.
She looks hot. That's what I'm saying, Phil. I'm with you. So I'm glad there's another, you know, viewpoint in the house tonight, because usually I get overweight.
That's like, you know what I mean? That's what makes it hot. It's like, you know, you're right on the edge of like S&M type of crap.
Right. Well, and that's kind of what it is.
And that's what he likes. I mean, as
like
they were
their
getting
relationship.
frisky, yeah.
That's what they do. So you saw tonight their chemistry. If you had to vote on who you think that Charlie should end up with, do you say Kate, which is Selma Blair's character, or would you say Jen, which is his ex-wife, who's the sweet Jen?
I don't think he's monotonous. Monogamous. That's
monogamous. Yes. Yeah, those are two. Those are two.
I don't think he's both.
And he has not had anything to drink tonight. That's Phil's. Phil's not been drinking. That is not vodka in his cup.
No, here's the thing. I mean, I think, you know, ultimately, like, can he sustain his Selma Blair relationship? No, because purely based on just animal instinct.
Right.
Whereas Jen, you know, they're talking about problems and working out through problems.
That's true.
You know, and unfortunately, I don't think there's a blend. You know. Or maybe they'll introduce a character, a female, that is like that, but I don't think that's possible.
Well, this is what I think they should do. Let's just have a menage a trois between Kate, Jen, and Charlie. Let's just get it out there. Let's just get it out there.
I'm all for it.
Now,
there are sister wives out there.
There are sister wives out there. There are. Now, you had something for ABTV, right?
I did. So, fans, I know we've been, here we've been, these guys have been sporting a bunch of shirts that we made for them, but we made a bunch of shirts for you too, fans. You can get them at the AfterBuzz store. Go to AfterBuzzTV.com. At the top, you will see a banner for the merchandise store. Click that. We have guys' shirts. We have girls' shirts. We got baby onesies. We got baby anything. We got hats. We also got we have a ton of stuff. We got anything for your iPhone, your iPad. Fun stuff. And it all says AfterBuzz. And you know what? It's just one way to keep this pirate ship going.
And is it pretty... how expensive is it? Is it pretty?
It's certainly not expensive as Abercrombie and Fitch.
Okay, wow.
I'll give you that much.
That's a high standard.
But it is American Apparel crap.
Okay.
Irony, I will say this. For any of you assholes that think that the price is a little bit too high, guess what? You know how much AfterBuzz makes on this? 0. But we've gotten so many requests in the past that you guys want this stuff, so we decided to make a store. And the reason we've done it this way is it ends up being the cheapest, easiest way for us to do it. Otherwise, I would have Derrial hand printing these damn shirts, and Derrial doesn't have the time.
I don't have the time, but I am wearing my Charlie Sheen shirt, which I'm sorry, I'm covering it with my sweater. Anyone who can see this, I am wearing the shirt that says, "I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV." So
That's right.
And it has Charlie Sheen's face. So
that is not available.
That is not available.
But regardless, AfterBuzzTV.com. Click on the merchandise store. Check out all the merchandise. Hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. What's wrong with getting that girl a special T-shirt or a hat?
Baby tee.
Baby tee. Hey, we got baby tees for girls.
Do we have AfterBuzz thongs?
Wow.
You know what?
We should make that.
What would it be?
That's next.
That's nothing. That would be like nothing.
It's Valentine's, man.
I have a couple visual ideas right now that but I won't get into it right now.
Anyway,
all right.
So AfterBuzz TV, click on that store. Done.
Don't forget. All right, back to anger management. So next up, we have Charlie and Martin and their relationship.
The crux of this episode, at the very least.
Yes, and I was mentioning that I'm really excited that Martin's on the show, and I think maybe 2 weeks ago I reported in our news and gossip that Charlie still even had said that he gets really excited to see his father on set, and that he still even is like in awe that his father is working with him on set. And I think it's a cool thing because it's like I think it keeps Charlie on the rock. It keeps him solid.
I think so too, and for me. One thing that I'm kind of mad about is the title episode is called Charlie's Dad Breaks Bad. Now, I watched Breaking Bad.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, and, I mean, he broke bad to a degree. Like, that's like the baby definition of Breaking Bad.
Right. Yeah, well.
But it didn't make the episode less funny. I'm just saying the title.
Yeah, well, in tonight's episode, we saw that it basically Martin's staying with Charlie. Charlie is a little bit, I think, fed up with some of Martin's ways. He comes into the house one night and Martin's sitting on the couch and there's like clothes everywhere. The place is in shambles. So he comes up with this great idea to have Martin join a choir group. So once he joins the choir group, what he ends up finding out is that Martin's still not in control. Martin's like out of control. He's hanging out with the choir group. He's drinking beers. He's getting drunk. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, at one point, Charlie has to go pick up Martin because he's at the bar with all the choir guys. There was a couple that came by, or excuse me, was it a couple or brother and sister that came by?
I think it was. I think
Carrie and Bob.
I think there were a couple, and they had two dads
that were involved with the choir group. So they come by and they basically are saying that Martin is the ringleader for all this mayhem that the guys are getting into. Smoking
drugs.
weed, having the munchies, doing little,
I like the role.
coke lines.
I like the role reversal in all of this.
And as far as Charlie being kind of
Charlie's
like the
still the dad, while.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's funny, too, because of the way that we picture probably Charlie Sheen, A, and then B, the way his character is on the show, because he's like womanizer, having sex with a therapist, having multiple women, crazy former athlete, and then the role reversal for him is that he has to take care of his dad.
Yeah.
And
then, despite having a really short amount of time, I mean, if you really think about it, by the time they kind of got to it, it was halfway through the episode, and they only have a 22-minute episode.
Right.
But they got all the typical things of like, drug use, stealing cars, being bad influence on your friends, like the typical teenage acting up type things.
Yeah.
So I thought that they did a nice job with that.
Well, maybe we have something to look forward to, Phil. Maybe when I would assume that Martin's probably in his 60s. Maybe when we're in our 60s, we can start acting like teenagers again. What do you think?
We could, maybe.
But we also see, like you kind of mentioned, that Martin's out of control. He ends up still in the car.
Yeah.
And Charlie calls the police on Martin, and the police bring Martin back to the house, and he's, Charlie's basically giving him a speech like he's the 16-year-old kid saying, you need to stay in control, Dad. You're out of control. You need to calm it down. So, I think that it's going to be funny to see where that relationship goes in the next couple episodes, or actually the 90 episodes that we have this year. So I think it's going to be pretty funny to see how their relationship kind of grows and what happens next. Because they are very similar still.
They are.
What did you like them?
I liked them. I thought it was fun. I mean, what's funny is that I felt Charlie was talking to his dad more like as if he was an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
By the language that he was using, and yet like this is an 8-year-old that can drive a car. You know what I mean? Like he's getting into trouble like a teen. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
I thought it was funny. Yeah. I mean, they say that I think Martin signed on to do at least half the season, so we should probably be seeing a lot more of him. And I also would kind of like to find out a little bit more backstory on his
divorce.
The divorce, yeah, because he mentions Corinne, that the reason he's been acting so crazy tonight, this entire episode, is because he had been served with divorce papers. So, and they've talked about his ex-wife, but they've never really touched upon like who she really is and what really happened. So, my thing is that I think that we'll hopefully find that out this season.
Well, and it brings them closer together too.
It brings them closer together
because their divorce, is their common bond.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Corinne is not Charlie's mom. Okay. That's what I think. So, yeah.
It's craziness.
It's craziness. So, is there anything else you want to say about Martin and Charlie?
That's it for me.
All right, well, I think I want to go into some news and gossip.
Let's do it.
Or not.
AfterBuzz.
Apparently, Steven was...
Soundboard's acting up tonight. I don't know what's going on.
Steven, our engineer...
just swore in the booth. I love it.
Steven, our engineer, didn't want us to do any news and gossip. Sorry, folks. No, okay, so this is what I have this week. So Charlie was actually on The Tonight Show, and he was talking about his meeting with Lance Armstrong, who's been in the press a lot this week because of his Oprah interview about using drugs during the Tour de France. But basically, Charlie said that when he met Lance Armstrong, he thought he was a total douche. And he said, in quote, when he walked up and introduced himself to Lance, Lance kind of acted like, that's nice. Sorry to, nice to meet you. And then Charlie said that he was kind of like Captain Bitchin'. So I'm thinking that maybe Lance is not such a nice guy, because I believe Charlie. Because Charlie seems like he's nice to everybody. But he wasn't too happy about the way Lance treated him. Do you think that Lance is a douchebag?
As of late, probably. Maybe 3 years ago, no.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that's my thought.
That's your thought. Well, I think that he maybe you're right. I think that probably as of late he might be more, but Charlie was not feeling Lance Armstrong. Also in the news, Huffington Post reports that we all know that Charlie gave $100,000 to Lindsay Lohan because she was having some problems with doing Scary Movie 5, and that she was not allegedly paid all of her money. So Charlie was nice and gave her $100,000, but now he's saying that he only gave her $50,000 because he said that Lindsay technically never really saw that money because most of it went back to paying for her taxes. And I'm just like, let me give you my address, Charlie, because if you have an extra $50,000 just sitting around, I mean, hey, I wouldn't mind taking it. I'm sure that Phil feels the same way.
I actually wouldn't care.
You wouldn't care?
I wouldn't care.
Well, do you think that he should have given Lindsay the money at all from the beginning?
Yeah, if she was integral to the movie, and I don't mind that. I think it's pretty cool that he did.
Once again, we see that Charlie's a super nice guy. His reputation does not equal out to who he really is, I think. I just want to party with him.
He just likes to have a fun time. He likes two words, bottle service. That's what he likes.
He likes bottle service. Call us up, Charlie. Phil and we'll go out with you and do some bottle service and kick it in L.A.
Yeah, I don't think you can afford, like, dude, there's like Las Vegas bottle service, $30,000 minimum. Like, that's bottle service for Charlie.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, if he can get 50 to 100 to, actually 100 to Lindsay, he can, 30,000 bottle service is nothing.
You got to treat Charlie, though.
Well, I'm sure that we can find something fun for him to do in Vegas. Or better yet, he can find some fun things for us to do in Vegas.
Fair enough.
All right, so let's go into some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, so I think that I'm going to have two parts to my predictions. I think that the first part is going to be the realistic version of predictions, and then the second one is kind of the fantasy. The realistic version of my prediction is that I feel that we're going to find out who Charlie's mom is, and we're going to find out the real, more story about that. We've been introduced to Martin already. We're introduced to Charlie's sister as well a couple episodes ago. So I think we're going to find out more about his mother and their relationship. And I also feel that he and Kate are going to continue to kind of have that awkward sex. He's falling for her a little bit more. She's still kind of being the guy and doesn't want to have the relationship get too serious. I think we're going to kind of see those two storylines happen. But then my fantasy prediction is that, I kind of mentioned it earlier, is that Charlie, Kate, and Jen have a menage a trois.
Excellent. How sweet.
Isn't that sweet? What about you?
Well, it sucks. They don't give you previews.
They don't give you previews.
They don't give you previews. I'm excited to, I think, do they usually go in a pretty sequential order? So, like, next time we'll be dealing with Corinne?
Possibly, but not necessarily. I mean, it's kind of no rhyme or reason to it.
I would like to see. I mean, obviously Charlie's very funny, but I also think the storyline B plots are funny as well. I want to see. I would love to see more people from the office.
Okay.
With, like therapy sessions.
The therapy sessions.
So
like you want to see more Lacey. You want to
definitely want to see more Lacey.
We definitely want to see more Lacey. All right.
More.
So
more.
Where can they?
Lacey.
More Lacey. More Lacey. So Phil, where can you be found?
At AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, and we have a website.
And if you want Phil to come back every week with us, keep letting him call in or tweet him and let us know so he can come back with us as well and give another guy perspective for this. I'm Derrial Christon. You can find me at DerrialChriston and also the same under Facebook and Twitter. We're going to see you next week for episode 5. I'm sure it's going to be an exciting show, and we'll probably have everyone back as well on the team. So we'll definitely look forward to that.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.